This is Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review with your NFL Week 17 preview. The end of the regular season has arrived. It's unbelievable how quickly the NFL season moves along, but we are here at the end of the regular season. Playoffs begin next week. Everybody jockeying for position, trying to get in the playoffs in some cases, trying to clinch divisions in some cases. A lot of things still left to be determined here in Week 17. We are not going to break down every single game because there's just way too many who's going to play, who's not going to play scenarios to talk about. The coaches, some of them are really being secretive in terms of their game plan and their motivation for this week. So we are going to specify and we're going to just go right to this week's play of the week in the NFL for Week 17. I found a pretty good totals winner that I think is going to cash us a ticket, and it's going to come to us from the NFC East battle between the New York Giants and the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins are probably one of the hottest over bets in the NFL right now. I don't think there's any denying that whatsoever. You look at Washington in their last 8 games, 7-1 to the over in their last 8 football games. They are putting up points with Kirk Cousins leading this offense. Jordan Reed, the tight end, is back on the field, healthy again. He practiced this week without any obvious discomfort with his injured left shoulder. He looks like he's going to be able to play. That's a huge weapon for Kirk Cousins in this Redskins offense. So he's going to be on the field. Deshaun Jackson has been very good lately in the deep passing game for the Washington Redskins. And I think Washington might be able to take advantage of a New York Giants defense that may rest a couple of guys. That's been the strength of this Giants team this year, is the defense. So when it comes to New York's mindset, the fact they've already clinched a playoff berth, they're locked into the number 5 seed in the NFC. They can't go up. They can't improve their standing whatsoever. If they're more likely to rest guys, I think they're more likely to rest them on the defensive side of the football. And especially because they've already lost a key guy on that defense, Pro Bowl cornerback, Janoris Jenkins. He missed his first game of the season last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, that game that the Giants lost 24-19. That's the game that allowed the Cowboys to clinch the NFC East. That loss for New York to Philadelphia. And I think that the Ben McAdoo might have a tendency of being a little bit more careful with his defense because that's been the unit that's carried this team. He might, maybe put a few more defensive backups in this game than maybe offensive backups because he did say apparently when he talked to reporters earlier this week that Eli Manning and the entire Giants offense is going to play in this game. There's not expected to be a number of snaps or a time restriction on the amount of time they play. Now, that's what he says. That's what he claims. That's what he said publicly, but with these coaches, sometimes what they say publicly doesn't always translate into what they actually do during that game. So, you can only go by this guy's word. We'll see if it sticks up. But either way, I think, just from a hunch on my end, from what I've read, New York probably more likely to rest some defensive players more than their offensive players. And, if the Giants go full throttle with their offense, I know their offense has been pedestrian at times. Eli Manning in the passing game hasn't really clicked to the extent we thought they would with Sterling Shepard, Odell Beckham Jr., Victor Cruz, what was supposed to be a very good receiving core. And their ground game's been almost non-existent. They've had a hard time running the football, whether it's Rashad Jennings, whether it's Paul Perkins. They really haven't been able to get any sort of consistent ground game together. But maybe they get things going a little bit because this Washington defense, to me, not a group that I trust. You look at what they've done lately. They gave up 31 to Dallas, 31 to Arizona. Philadelphia scored 22 points against them, moved the ball pretty well. Carolina's, offense that's been very hit or miss this season scored 26 against them. Chicago moved the ball against them last week at times, even though they only scored 21. A lot of turnovers by the Bears hurt their offensive scoring output against that Washington defense, but Matt Barkley and the Bears were able to move the ball against Washington. So I think the Giants are able to move it against Washington a little bit here, put up some points. And on the flip side, as good as the Giants defense has been, without Janoris Jenkins last week, they gave up 24 points to a Philly offense that to me isn't as good as Washington. So I do think the Redskins, with all of their offensive weapons intact, should be able to have success moving the ball and finding their way to scoring some points in this game as well. So let's go ahead. Let's make this play of the week official. We're going to look to the New York Giants, Washington Redskins over 44.5, rotation number 308. Giants, Redskins over 44.5. I looked ahead to the weather conditions in Washington for Sunday afternoon, something you always have to do at this time of year for outdoor games. You need to be aware of what the weather is. It's going to be sunny. No precipitation, light winds, should be perfect late December conditions for football. Actually, January 1st. This game's on New Year's Day, so early January conditions should be fine in Washington for this game, and I do expect that both offenses will do enough to get this game up and over a reasonable total. 44.5 is a reasonable number. You can get a 24-21 game and be able to cash an over ticket, and that is what I think we'll see. We'll see enough points from the G-men and the Skins to cash this game up and over the total. Giants, Redskins over 44.5. That's your NFL Week 17 play of the week. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Make sure to tune in next week here at Sportsbook Review. I will be breaking down all 4 wildcard playoff games in the NFL in depth from a betting perspective. Break down all 4 games next week, give you another play of the week. We'll hope to keep on a good surge with those plays. So until then, I'm Ian Cameron for Sportsbook Review.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.